I looked across a very wet San Ignacio the morning we were due to go to Caracol. But we're from Vancouver, and rain never slowed an adventure down for us. If it did, we'd never get anything done. Last year's route, impassable because of heavy rains through Cristo Rey, we used the road through Georgetown, which adds about 3/4 of an hour to the trip. You climb over 2 mountain ranges ending in the pine forest and arriving at St. Augustine de Silva. This is the military encampment where you have to sign in and out.
How many are going to be on site today, Harry?
I only had 4 other vehicles.
You can rent a car and drive into Caracol yourself. Would I recommend it? No. I would go with a guide every time. Without the road, you can see that the dense jungle either side would be virtually impassable to a man on foot. You come around a corner of the road, and there in front of you is this concrete bridge. And Harry says that in the rainy season, it's completely underwater. I love the way the rain clouds scud across the mountainsides. We wonder just how wet we will get on this adventure. Harry's able to even stop and point out the roadside hawk, a magnificent bird. I asked him what its name was before they put the road in. He just laughed. All over the site at Caracol are some amazing plants and flowers. Your guide, he'll point them all out and tell you what they're all for, and each one of them usually has a use. In 1937, Rosa Maya stumbled across Caracol while he was looking for mahogany to log. In 1938, A.H. Anderson from the Archaeological Department in Belize visited and remarked there were a number of carved monuments on site, and then spent the next decade attempting to get an archaeologist to actually work there. Several smaller investigations have been here, but it wasn't until 1983 that a permanent archaeological dig site was established, and they began to actually look around and see what was really here. The temple to our left is the jaguar water lily. Directly in front of us is Kana, the sky palace. And it is just that. From the bottom you can only see 2/3 of it. As you walk across the plaza towards it, you have no concept of the scale until you actually mount the staircase. Harry tells us all about the history, and then walks across the plaza and starts up the staircase. You can see how high he has to reach to get up. Once we're at the first landing, he tells us about details in the building style and the howlers serenade us from the trees, where the guards would have stayed, and how the visitors would have been made to wait at this point until they could mount the second staircase. Barb starts up the second staircase. You can see how high the steps actually are. And the howler monkeys, those are at normal volume. I haven't changed the track for Hollywood. This is what we heard while we were there. But when you get to the top, this is what awaits you. The final courtyard. 3 more towers. One, the center one, being the King's Tower. The 2 open doorways lead to excavated tombs that we saw the last time we were here. Finally at the top, in the King's Place. I always think I should be up here anyway. You know, it's just the way I am. Yes. The ruins are truly incredible. As you look out over the forest, you can now only imagine the vastness of this once great city. Truly incredible vista lays itself out in front of you. It's amazing. Barb has found something this trip she missed the first one. This is an original piece of Mayan facing. It's It's when you look down that you realize that perhaps going up was the easy part. The sense of vertigo is quite amazing here, and you have to be careful. Going on an angle, Harry says, is usually the safest way instead of going straight down. You leave Cana and you go across to the first of the ball courts. This one's relatively small by some standards. I love looking through the trees. Everywhere you look, there is another building. Harry tells us about the features of some of the Mayan architecture. When we reach the second area, we're just amazed again. The sound you're hearing isn't manufactured. It's this guy right here, Montezuma orapendula. He's a bird about the size of one of our seagulls here on the west coast. And that is his call, and that is what he does. He's not bird. This is the building of the wooden lintel, and the wooden lintel still exists. They have had to replace a couple of the beams for safety, but there is the original termite-ridden wood that the Mayans placed there. We know there is more to see. We continue out the side of this group of buildings. And we continue down a stone causeway now through the jungle, unlogged, and come across this, a stelae. Harry tells us its story. The carving is still there, still visible to this day. Again, as I look through the forest, there's another building, another set of stairs, a wall. This is one of the aquifers for the city, a storage area where drinking water was kept. Harry leads us on to the next place that we have to see. Those stairs that have been intriguing me.
It's more of an early classic type of ruler, even though he's more from the...
We get to the southern acropolis and Harry tells us about the 3 open tombs that are here. Grave robbers. The wonders will never be known what they found. I was amazed the first time I was here. I'm amazed this time when I was here. The extent of the building just seems to go on and on. It's quite amazing. The jungle grows over it very quickly, and we're told that this is actually an ornate causeway. Perhaps one day they'll dig it out and show it to the world, but for now, it's a nice cooling piece of shade in the jungle heat. We're back at the archaeology camp, and these are the artifacts they've actually found, stelae or markers, at each of the locations, the ball court, the southern acropolis, that are being studied.
Big guys, right? They're quite fat, rulers,
Right.
and they're actually being prepared to be sacrificed.
The carving on the stelae is just mind-boggling. The detail today that is still visible is incredible. It's an amazing place to visit. The sheer grandeur of it all is quite amazing. Harry not only tells us what each stone represents, but why the carving is done the way it is. The only person represented face on is the present ruler. Everyone else is shown in profile to show that they are lower than he is. The visitors are always shown kneeling or below him. As we walk back to the parking lot and the picnic area, you can see even more of the stonework of buildings we didn't get to see. Buildings that the archaeologists have catalogued but not been able to study yet. We take a break in the shade, We get back in the truck and say goodbye to the guards. Harry says we'll try the other road back, it'll be shorter. Now that it's dry, the road's not bad, but you can see evidence that the mud holes were pretty darn deep. As we cross the crest of the pine forest, the moon comes up and we're given this glorious view. Thanks, Caracol. Especially thanks to Harry. You need a guide and a good one in Belize? Look him up. You've got my recommendation. See you later, my friend. Thanks for watching my videos. I always appreciate it. Leave behind any comments you wish to. Maybe subscribe or even share us if you wish.